And the motor and drive assembly is removed. Lots of cleaning. Lots of cleaning to do. And look at that, now it's nice and clean. Inside and out. Having a hard time getting this apart so I can get it out. It's wired to a little small PCB. There's the tone arm wiring. This turntable is made in 79 to 81, something like that. So, gotta get this apart somehow or another. And with the right tool, I finally get it out. Snip the wire off, then got the wire holder out of the hole there, out of the plinth. Yeah, in the garbage it goes. These cable holders in the plinth that holds it in place, nothing but a royal pain. So I'm working on this because I'm going to replace the power cord, a couple screws, and then I can splice in and solder in a new thicker set. Just cut off this end, splice and tin the wires that needed, connect up to the board and good to go. X-Acto knife saved the day. It is now out. Okay, got the new power cord set up. Gotta remember to take the green one, fold it back and tape it onto the cord itself, because you're not going to need it. You're only going to need these two wires, and it doesn't matter which one because it's not grounded. Easy enough. And this end is prepped. Wires are stripped and tinned. Okay, I got it apart. 2 metal screws, 1 plastic screw. That was very interesting. So be careful when I put it back together. I just got to unsolder these 2 wires and then solder in these 2 wires, and we're connected. I'll have to put a zip tie down here when I find the right. Get it all soldered in so it doesn't get pulled back out. And would you look at that, all soldered in and ready to go. Alright, there's the speed switch for 45 to 33. What I found out has happened on my PL-7, you have to use detox it and to clean down. Then I've got some that's got a little bit of lube in it, because it gets sticky and it causes fluctuation in the speed. And when you spray it and then you cycle it through a whole bunch of times, clean it again, cycle it through till it's clean and lubed up inside, and then it helps stabilize the speed. It worked on my PL-7 pretty good when I do it, and you have to do it from time to time to keep it that way, so it's worth it. So I'll demonstrate just a little bit. Okay, PCB is all back in. Speed switch has been cleaned and lubed. Zip tie is tight and secure, so the cord won't get yanked. And we're done with that part. And upon closer inspection, crack there. It's plastic, and I don't think I want to venture taking apart the tone arm assembly at all, because it's held together by a couple screws on the bottom side underneath here that holds the tube in. And I would probably need to take it apart to replace the wiring. The wiring looks okay, so I may just get some shielded wiring that I have and just go off the PCB into the new jacks I'm going to put in the back of the plastic plinth and the grounding post. So I think I'll just leave the wiring intact as it is and go off of here. I can just see that crack would be too much to deal with. Yeah, I'll just clean it up and leave it as is. One less headache and expenditure not to worry about. Oh well. Still got a good table. More cleanup to go. You see how dirty it is. This is basically the last part I had to clean up. Okay. On to the next thing. One thing I did find out to fix. This is part of the auto return switch, not switch, lever. Looks like it had some rubber on it. PL-7 was almost as bad, but this is even worse. Scrape it off and then use some heat shrink to make layers to replicate what it used to be, like a rubber. Basically a rubber sleeve, I guess you could call. We'll see how it works out. Well, my handy dandy Swiss Army computer knife is able to scrape off all the crud on there, and my 320 grit sanding block got it all nice and clean and shine down. Yeah, just put some heat shrink on it. It might take several layers to get it back out to where it used to be, and we'll be back in the game. Well, got one layer on. I just gotta put the next layer on, cut it off, and just keep going up the sizes until I get the right diameter, which should be about the size of that bottom shaft there, that ring right there, and I think we'll be in business. So see how many layers it takes. Well, it took about 6 layers. Get some better light down here on this. So it worked out. If you got a nice heat shrink kit like this, you can need to layer up something to make up like what I do. You got to be a little creative here, and I've now recreated the rubber bushing that basically here, so we'll see how it works. Okay, after some careful thinking, I put a rubber grommet here where the power cord goes in. Makes it a little bit more stable and looks a little better. Plus, the way it weaves in these pegs here, it'll hold it in place, so I don't need to zip tie there anymore. So it's a nice snug fit. So we're good to go on this part. Well, I got the grounding post in, and I got the holes drilled, just trying to get them evened out so I can get the spacers all the way in and seated. Not that it makes a huge difference because this plinth is plastic, so it won't ground out on the jacks itself. So we're making progress here. Alright, I've got them in. Nice, flush and tight. Get that bent over a little bit so we can get it wired up here after a while. This is all ready. Just gotta get the wires going. Well, here it is the morning after completing the wiring. Well, almost completing. I've made up these from a pair of rocket fish cables going from the PCB from the tonal wiring attaches into, and I'm going to be connecting it to the connectors. On my Pioneer PL-400, I put the connectors on the inside of the base plinth here, and this here put into the top part of the plinth, and it's going to sort of work like a sandwich, putting it back together, but I've left it long enough where it won't be strained out or be stretched out or pulled out of connection. So I'm gonna work on this next. So everything's going good so far. So just the latest update for my video. Here we go. Alright, soldering is complete. May not be the prettiest, but all connections are there and solid. I've got this all mounted in now. So now I'm just gonna put the plinth on top and match it up, and it's tricky how to get this all together because you got to have this return spring lever set up correctly, and there's something else. I need to take a look at the manual, because before you put it together you have to have certain things in place. It's not like my techniques where you just don't have to worry about that silly stuff. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, here we go. According to these instructions, I'll scan down through here in case somebody wants to read any of this. I got the manual from vinylengine.com. Great resource for turntables and cartridges and stuff like that. Fortunately, he's not taking any new logins. Apparently, a few years ago or so, people have nothing else better to do with their time than to hack and try to screw up somebody's website. It's very useful for other people. So he's not taking any new registrations, but I've been on there for quite a while. So anyway, one of the first steps is this return spring here. Is that what you call it? Yeah, it's a spring. Anyway, you take this, put that over there like that. It says you have to set the platter size to 30 centimeters or 12 inches and move the lever all the way back, and then you move this spring to their position like that on the, what do they call that? It's called the panel boss. So then when I flip it, then you have to make sure spin the motor here to make sure it's back into the stationary position. Okay, so I got that set. Okay, so we'll move on to the next step, because I gotta connect up two connectors, one here which goes right up here, And then this gets connected to right here. And you have to do that with this laying on top of there. And you gotta put your hands, slide your hands in between and connect them. So this can be a little tricky, but this is what I'm gonna do next. Okay, I've got the bottom reattached. And now got the spring action back into the motor and tone arm base. So now next it says switch the size selector to the 25 centimeter position and release the arm lock. Okay, rotate the motor clockwise while pressing down on the center of the arm base. And check to maintain that the main mechanism has been rest to the stationary state. And I move it out there like this. Yes. And now it's free. Okay. All right. We're in business now, just to give it a quick little test. All right, I've got my test LP on here. Put the cooling arm down and oops. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. Had to set the tracking force real quick. So let's give it a test and make sure everything moves correctly. Oh, dummy me. Alright, plugged it in now. Let's try it again. Okay, that's okay. This seems to be working. Yeah, cleaning the speed switch out definitely helped. The locking in the speed. There's 45. And there's 33. All right. See if it auto stops okay. Something I just noticed. Maybe you heard it too. When it's hit the start button and when it started to engage, I could hear like a slight, very soft grinding noise. And when it settled down, when it rested, tone arm went down. It all went quiet. So because I heard it on the return the last time. I read on a forum somewhere, I think it was a vinyl, just somebody, or it might have been on Steve Huffman's, or somewhere I read a comment that it's got some, the auto return or the return system tends to be noisy, so it's maybe an inherent problem with this turntable. Might have to do some research and find out if there's something I can do to quiet it down, but as long as it's quiet while playing, I should be okay for now to get started with. So next test is I need to disconnect here and connect it up to my system and give it a test, see how it actually sounds. Well, the sound is coming out okay, as apparent by I'm not used to this part, so it's sort of sounding, I don't know, a little off, maybe because it's too worn. The bass part on it's a little out, and sometimes it booms up when you don't expect it. I'm not sure, but I think something wrong with the auto start and repeat, because I had to manually get this to start, because when I did do a little test here. Okay, it's going to stop. Is it going to do what it did earlier? I hope not. Okay, it shut off correctly. Earlier it just kept going over and down, a few revolutions, pick back up and return. Okay. I guess that glitch is fixed. So, we're in business. I'm going to put a different card on here and get it set, and then I'll give it another test, make sure. I think it's just the stylus needs to be replaced. Oops, that was a little too harsh. Okay, get back with a different cart. Alright, I got my Nagioka MP150 set up on here. So let's give this a little test. Uh-oh, come on. Switch seems to be a little temperamental. Okay. coming out of the shit Manny 2 into my shit sis, to my Focusrite Scarlet 2. Seems they're working okay. Well, looks like my refurb's done. Maybe just do some research on that noise. Other than that, another fun project. I'm gonna do work on a needle drop, maybe today or tomorrow, and get this out to everybody. All right, see ya. Alright, do some other troubleshooting. It's not the cartridge's fault. Apparently my subwoofer has bit the dust. It's not working, so I'm not hearing any bass. All I'm hearing is just my desktop speakers, so that's why it's sounding a little hollow. So, oh well, that's another issue. So just thought I'd let everybody know before I finish this video up that it's not the cartridge's fault, it's the subwoofer. That's why everything's sounding funny to me. So I put my headphones on through the system and it's just fine. So anyway, more fun. Alright, one last update because I'm gonna have to do some serious work on this thing. I played the same album over here on my Riga through my Pearl. Subwoofer is working just fine. I play my music through my Fubar media player. Music sounds just fine. I suspect it's something to do with the old wiring in this thing. You know, this thing is made in between 79 and 81, so I think it's time that the wiring needs to be replaced. Don't exactly know why, but it's the only thing I can come up with because everything else is new wiring from the PCB to the jack. So if I'm going to put new wiring in, I'm going to bypass the PCB and go straight to the jacks, which is better anyway, which is what I've always done in the past. So this is not complete yet, but I'm going to finish it here and post this. But it does work, it does play. It's just for whatever reason, suspect it's something to do with the wiring is causing the bass not to play very well, because it's like my subwoofer's off, totally off, but it's not. When I play something else, it works just fine. I even took the back off the subwoofer and checked all the connections and it's just fine. So something to do with this turntable. More work. Oh well. I'll keep you updated with my next video on this. Thanks for watching. Well, I've totally redone the wiring because I had some issues with the other wiring and soldering. I didn't leave enough lead length here and on here, and I had some that was possibly bleeding over on this channel. So I have them separated and soldered because I cleaned up all the old solder, so I got new solder and these are much better now. So hopefully this fixes the problem. And I had to clean up this green wire here in this channel, the ground on the right. Clean off the old solder. Got to spliced open the wire to get a bit better connection. So a new solder on here. So hopefully all this is fixed now. Much better wiring job. I shouldn't be doing this late at night before I go to bed. Oh well, life in the fast lane. Just a quick demo here at the end of this video to finally wrap up. The rewire I did last night fixed the problem. My subwoofer is definitely working. So it was just the wiring that messed up the problem. So got another fine working turntable. Yay!